The Bellows Shad here, it is the little brother of the Bellows Gill. You'll see this is a much bigger profile bait. This is a bait that Geecrack had long before I ever became partnered with them. And as I became partnered with them, I'm learning all these new techniques, new baits from the JDM market. And this bait in particular, I fell in love with. They have several different sizes of it. This is the big size, but that's a little bit of the backstory. This became this. And this is how I've won a lot of money, is just on a flipping setup. I've got it braided to a leader right here, 7-foot heavy rod. This is a 1/4 ounce weight, fairly light, pegged, 20-pound leader. And I'll go 25 if I'm around heavy cover, and a 4 or a 5/0 flipping hook, depending on the size of the fish I'm around. If I'm around big bussy breakfish, I'm gonna throw a 5/0 hook, just something with a lot more bite. If I'm around, you know, smaller 2 and 3 pounders, that's when I'm gonna lean towards that 4/0. But the idea is you're just flipping this the same place you would a Cinco or a beaver or any other type of creature bait. Yet again, you're gonna hear me say this multiple times. It is a different profile, a different action. This thing does not look like it's gonna do anything, but it's gonna swim like crazy. You would be amazed how many times I've flipped this up by a dock or inside a bush, and I'm going to reel it out, and the fish chases it out and eats it. And it's basically just having a reaction bait and a compact, slow presentation balled into one. This color right here is called AJ's Juice. Y'all saw me at Bussy Break flipping it, flipping a white one. If you're around shad, I'm gonna flip a white one around the shad spawn, things like that. But most of the time, I'm gonna flip this AJ's Juice right here. It's green pumpkin with a little purple flake. By far my favorite way to fish this bait. And since we're talking about a Japanese bait right here in the Bellows Shad, I'm gonna show you probably the most Japanese technique, the way I rig it. And this is the free rig. What this is a tungsten drop shot weight right here, but it's it's just got a little tie for your line. And you basically just put it as your slip sinker, unpegged in front of the weight. This is like the finesse Carolina rig, is one of the ways to look at it. And this bait right here, it falls on its own. You know, it has SAF material, it's got a fast rate of fall, and it's got a lot of action with little movement. These ribs are gonna allow this bait to swim like you wouldn't believe. If you have not seen one in the water, I highly encourage you to try it out, check it out, Google it, because this thing swims like crazy. And so as you allow this to fall and slackline, the bait and the weight get separation, but not a ton. And then you kind of begin to fish the bait free, right? So you get a weightless presentation in deep water where a weightless presentation just isn't possible. So that's the free rig here, a great way to throw the Bellows Shad on pressured fish, especially places where they're seeing lots of Carolina rigs, they're seeing lots of drop shots. Different presentation will generate bites, so make sure you try this out. And I would put this in the same category as a Carolina rig. That's another way that's incredibly popular to fish this bait. Technique number 3, this is gonna be the most finessey technique. You'll see me throw the Bellows Shad, and this is the Nico rig. I've got a Geecrack Nico hack in here, and what you'll see is it allows me to Nico rig this bait. It's basically a spear with a hole on the other side where the bait won't tear off. You know, I can't, if I just hook it into the ribs, first time I cast it, it's gonna tear off, and this Nico hack will allow you to Nico rig any bait you want. You don't have to be able to fit a rubber band around this thing. Typically, it does fall on its own. However, I prefer to put a pretty good sized nail weight in the head of this thing because it's gonna give it that faster nose down rate of fall and allow the water as it travels over those ribs to give that lifelike shimmy. So that's one thing to consider. You can throw it weightless if you're very shallow, but I prefer a nail weight in it, gives it that better fall, and I think generates more bites. So clear water, skipping around docks and things like that, this is gonna be one of the ways I'm gonna fish it. You know, places where there's not a ton of cover. Like if it's fairly open water, that's when I'm gonna break this out. And the final way I'm gonna talk about fishing the Bellows Shad is as a trailer. You'll see right here, I've got it rigged up as a buzzbait trailer. This big flat side on it is gonna allow me to skip this bait like you wouldn't believe. I can put it way up under docks, up under overhanging trees, just to fish like tight little shade lines, just places where you cannot usually get a topwater. And I almost never throw a skirt on my buzzbaits, so I'm looking for a large but light soft plastic trailer. And depending on where I am, what the fish are feeding on, that's gonna change. But if I can get away with it, especially on like a cloudy day, I'm gonna throw a white Bellows Shad on the back of it. It's got that tight shimmy that y'all are tired of hearing me talk about, but that tight shimmy accompanied with the profile, it's just really lifelike. So buzzbait trailer, chatterbait trailer, which I don't have rigged up because it's so similar to this, but spinnerbait trailer. Those of you that have watched my channel or watched Major League Fishing know how much I love throwing this thing as a spinnerbait trailer. It is a big spinnerbait trailer. It's not your typical little Kitech swim bait or just a twin tail grub. When you put it in the water, it's gonna feel kind of funky. But you know, when I'm throwing this bait, I'm keying in on big fish. And number two, one of the things that gets a little technical is a trailer this size is gonna allow you to control your spinnerbait in the water column a lot easier. Whatever spinnerbait you would think you should throw for that depth. So say I think this depth I should just throw a bare 1/2 ounce spinnerbait. If I'm gonna put that Bellows Shad on it, it's gonna make that bait rise and I'll be able to fish it slower. So I'm gonna have to get to that same depth that I wanted to, I'm gonna have to go up to a 3/4, which is what we've got here. But whenever you're looking to slow your bait down, if you wanna fish your spinnerbait slower than you've ever been able to fish it before, throw a big trailer on it, and that's what you've got here in the Bellows Shad. At Bussy Break, I was throwing a 1/2 ounce, but I was fishing it like that deep, and I was able to keep that spinnerbait super slow. I could see those blades turn, and it was generating bites. I mean, guys were flipping all around me. Guys were throwing a chatterbait all around me, and it literally lapped the field. So you're looking for a different presentation, something that's gonna allow you to have more bait control, and also the lifelike shimmy that I won't shut up about. It's the Bellows Shad. And so those are the ways I rig a Bellows Shad. One mistake I see people make before I let you go is I see people rig it flat. I typically don't like that. I want to rig it vertical, up and down. A shad swims this way, not this way. And so to keep the integrity of the bait and the profile, I'm going to rig it right side up whenever throwing it on a spinnerbait or a chatterbait. So thank you guys for watching. This is a video that I've had requested a lot over the past couple years. If you guys want to get a pack of Bellows Shad for yourself, I'm going to have the link below. Make sure you guys go try it out. Let me know if you catch some on it.